What's going on, everyone? This is Jarrod D here with another review, but this time we're talking about Lovers and Friends. So this will be season 2 of the Chasing Reality series. And I really liked the first season. I thought it was something different. I thought it was something that was necessary as far as the types of stuff that we usually get. But yeah, let's just jump into this episode and let's talk about what we saw, because there was a lot to talk about. So we opened the show with updates from the daters from last season. So we talked to Jamil, who says, unfortunately, that he hasn't heard from his date since they last recorded. And then we got an update from Premiere. Now, we already saw previously, and they had like a little preview clip. You know how they say like later in the episode, like that type of thing, where the guy that Premiere picked in season 1 is actually one of the bachelors, one of the main bachelors on this new season. So now Premiere is giving us we know that kind of broke down, and now Premiere is giving us his side of the story. I was a little bit confused about exactly the timeline of things, because at first he started off saying 6 days later they had to call things off, but then he said, then he ended up saying like over a 30-day span you felt like he needed to be, I don't know, it was weird. So I didn't really understand the timing of it, but the root of the issue is that he called it quits because Dennis was a little bit too excited to be in a relationship with him. I just, that my antenna went up listening to Premiere's explanation of why he decided to end things with Dennis. It just seemed very much like, and I don't know the inner workings of their relationship or whether Dennis was really just pushing it way too hard. Like he was just like, there's the possibility that, Dennis was on some, let's get married type of stuff very early on in the relationship, and I can understand how that could be just a little too much. So I don't know how far Dennis pushed, but my sense is that Dennis was very enthusiastic, wanting to meet up with Premiere, excited about texting him, and it was just a little bit too much for Premiere. And my thing is, Premiere, if you weren't ready for a serious relationship, why were you on the show in the first place? But again, like, I don't know the inner workings of the relationship. What we do know is that on both accounts, they said that Premiere ghosted Dennis, which is like a complete red flag. But like, why do you feel like you have to ghost somebody? Like, the only reason I feel like I would have to ghost somebody is if I felt like they were dangerous on some level. I don't get that Premiere thought he was dangerous or anything like that, or that, he was just going to continuously hit him up after saying, look, I don't think this is going to work out. There's a respectful way of ending things, and that's not what Premiere did. He tried to waffle out of saying, oh, it's not really, like, we know what it was. I don't get why guys do that. A lot of times when guys think that they want a relationship, but when they get into a relationship and they see that the other person is like all in, then they get really scared. They don't know what to do. They kind of back off because they realize that they're not really ready, or they don't really realize it, but that's basically what it is. And they continue to do that with the next person, and just ghost and ghost and ghost because they haven't come to the realization like, oh, I've got some stuff to work on so that, I can be open and honest with this person about how I'm feeling, where I am. And maybe it's not time for me to date right now until I get to that place where I can handle somebody who is actually ready for a relationship. Then we meet Dennis officially as the bachelor, or as one of the bachelors for this season. Now, he mentioned that he's never been in a long-term relationship. A lot of people will see that as a red flag. I personally don't. I feel like it's hard to date in our community. And I feel like there are a lot of instances where you'll come across some people who have not been able to to get into a relationship for whatever reasons. So I don't really hold that against him. Some people just need a little bit more help, and we'll see coming up in the next few episodes why Dennis has always been single, and whether that's his fault or whether that is just the circumstances of where he is and his place in the community. We were also introduced to Lionel. His reasoning for being single was that nobody wants me. That was his quote. Nobody wants me. It was just like, oh my God, that hurts. He's been having trouble finding love on Tinder and finding love in the club. And he says everybody just wants to have sex. And I will say, from personal experience, Tinder is not really the best place to find a relationship. Unfortunately, you would think a dating app would be a good place to find people who were actually interested in going on dates, but that's not the case. And a club is definitely not the place to find a date unless you are unless you're like in the 6 feet and above category, you're not pulling anybody in the club. Let's just be honest. And even then, you have to be like super hot. It's like, so you're not. I always think you have to put yourself in the best environment in order to find people who are going to actually engage with you. And I just don't think that Lionel has been in that environment. Maybe this will be the environment where he has people kind of coming to him, people who are interested in him, and people who are actually engaging with him in a way that they haven't been on Tinder or in the club or something like that. So then we meet Dennis's friends and Lionel's friends. Lionel was worried that his friends would pick unattractive people because he didn't really trust their taste. And so I'm just confused as to why he picked these friends to be the ones that picked his dates. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Pick somebody who has good taste, or pick somebody who knows your taste. So then we've got the friends come together to watch videos of the daters, of like the dating pool. So first one, we're treated to some craziness because we've got Eric, who's like, twerking and dancing to Dropping It Low for Jesus. And that's already a red flag for me. I'm like, no, we're not dropping it low for Jesus over here. We're not doing that. We had one person, Aaron, who gave no video, but everybody liked him because I guess he was kind of cute. He kind of had that like masculine vibe to him. Okay. But I don't know, for me, not going through the process or not having a video, that was a little bit of a red flag. If I were one of the friends, I would have asked that question, like, why don't you have a video? Sometimes some people think they're a little too good for the process, and so that would be one of the questions that I'd asked. Doesn't mean that I think that is exactly what happened, but, I would have asked the question, of course. Okay, so these questions that these friends were asking. Okay, first of all, a lot of them were very basic questions. They were like, what is your favorite first date? What kind of, I don't know, just like those canned relationship questions, like that give you absolutely nothing, that give you no insight to this person's personality, that don't have any weight, that don't really say, oh, this person would be good for the person that I love, my good friend. They're not asking questions that that would help them pick somebody for their friends. So yeah, I didn't get why they were asking these basic questions. But then on top of that, they went to the other end of the spectrum and asked all these hypersexual questions, which doesn't help anything either. Like, why are you asking if you were in the club, would you get blah 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 from the back? Like, how does that help? How does that help? Like, the one friend, Coffee, or whoever his name was, he was asking some of the most crazy questions, and it was just like, well, why do you want to know? Are you interested? Because that's what that sounded like. And it's just like, it doesn't, you're like, if you're here to help your friend find love, why are you asking these sexual questions, like these deep sexual questions? Not like, how often would you like to have sex, because I know my friend would want to have sex X amount of times per week or something like that, and that's important to him. It's just like, you're just asking these crazy questions just to put people on, just to make people wiggle in their seat and feel uncomfortable. And I'm not singling out Coffee because all of them were asking these questions, but he was asking the most questions. And to the guys who were not answering the sexual questions, I don't know why the friends were so upset with the guys who weren't answering the sexual questions. That's a personal question. They're not there to have sex with you. So yeah, I'm not answering any of your sexual questions. That's none of your business. It's none of your business. Now, to the guys who decided to answer the questions, okay. Now, they feel more comfortable disclosing their sexual, inclinations. Okay. But I don't have to answer your sex questions. Like, what do you, like, why? Why do you need to know that? Really kind of weird. I don't feel like the question and answer session between any of these people really did anything. And then on top of that, I felt like the friends were at that point, at least last season, I don't know, I have to go back and watch last season and see how it worked, but I believe last season, through this interview process, they picked certain people that then they would put forward to their friends. Basically, they picked certain people they would put forward to their friends. I don't remember all of the daters going to a mixer, and it's like, okay, so you asked all those questions, but for what? That's what I'm getting at. It's like, you have this interview thing, but now if everybody is going to go to the mixer, then what do we have this interview process for? Now, there was one final thing that I wanted to touch on, and they had this video playing when they were doing the interviews of this woman, Trey Money. I don't get the inclusion of Trey Money's video in the lineup of videos. Trey Money is a trans woman. I have not heard either of these bachelors, say that they were into women. This is a gay dating show. And I'm not saying that it's bad to include trans women in this process. I'm saying the way that they treated this particular segment was as if Trey Money was a punchline. And it just seemed really insensitive. Like, why is the trans woman the butt of the joke here? It didn't seem good. And everybody and all the friends there were just like, oh, hell no. That's not for my friend. I can't get on the friends so much. They could have been a little bit more tactful with how they spoke about this person, but at the same time, they were kind of set up. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, why? Why was the video played? Why was that even a discussion? Why was that discussion aired? Why did anybody think that was appropriate? I didn't think it was appropriate, but, this is me, and maybe I'm just being hypersensitive, and, I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments, because I didn't think that it was all that great. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will be sure to continue watching. I'm Jarrod D. King. Please follow me, Twitter, Instagram, at Jarrod D. King. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Give this a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.